Hi, how you doing? How was your week? It was very cold and a little rainy, and it's going to be like that this winter. So we'll get through. We have a holiday coming up on Monday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I've been talking about it with the kids. We do this every year. We talk about what he did for us, Dr. Martin Luther King. But then I also looked up in the lectionary what we were supposed to talk about today, and that's what I want to start with. We're talking about Samuel. This is the verses that we're supposed to listen to this week in church. 1 Samuel 3, 1 through 10. The boy Samuel served the Lord under Eli. In those days, the Lord did not speak directly to people very often. There were very few visions. And Eli's eyes were so weak, he was almost blind. One night he was lying in bed, and Samuel was also in bed in the Lord's holy tent. The Ark of the Covenant was in the holy tent, and God's lamp was still burning. And then the Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, "I'm here." He ran to Eli and he said, "I'm here, you called me." But Eli said, "I didn't call you, go back to bed." So Samuel went back to bed, and the Lord called again, "Samuel." And Samuel again went to Eli and said, "I'm here, you called me." Again Eli said, "I didn't call you, go back to bed." Samuel did not yet know the Lord. The Lord had not spoken to him directly yet. The Lord called Samuel for the third time, and Samuel got up and went to Eli. He said, "I am here. You called me." And then Eli realized the Lord was calling the boy. So he told Samuel, "Go to bed. If he calls you again, say, 'Speak, Lord. I am your servant, and I am listening.'" So Samuel went and lay down in bed, and the Lord came and stood there, and he called as he had before. He said, "Samuel, Samuel." And Samuel said, "Speak, Lord. I am your servant, and I am listening." Samuel had to listen. He had to understand that it was God talking to him. He had to know that this was important. He had to know what God wanted him to do. And the reason I kind of wanted to do both Samuel and Martin Luther King Jr. is that's what Martin Luther King Jr. had to do. He had to listen. He had to hear from God that there were problems in this country, that people were getting hurt and killed and not treated right. He had to make changes, and God helped him through those changes. He read in the Bible, which is kind of how we hear God talking to us now sometimes. He found passages in the Bible. Genesis 1:27, every human being is made in the image of God. Showing respect toward every person shows respect for God. Every human being. Every human being comes from Adam and Eve and is equal. He's equal. We should never view ourselves as being superior to any other person for any reason. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had to hear those words. And he did hear those words. He heard them the whole time he was growing up because his dad was a pastor. He knew those words. God spoke to him. God spoke to Samuel, and eventually he figured out to listen. And eventually he did what he was supposed to do. God spoke to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., 1,000 years later, 2,000 years later. And he did what he was supposed to do. So maybe that's what we're supposed to learn from this. Listen. I don't know that God himself is going to come and stand in front of me and tell me things. I don't know that I read the Bible every single day and it's always going to make sense. But when something comes up, like maybe making a video, then maybe that's God's way of saying, talk, Kath. I'll give you the words, you just say them. Now this would not be a video right now if I did not mention my daughter, and I'm going to, because Colleen heard those words. She heard words that told her to go to school to be a teacher. And then she heard words that told her to work with kids that need help, more help than normal. And then she went further. She didn't worry about whether she had enough money to pay for the school. She didn't worry about whether she'd get rich. What she cared about were those kids. We have to listen. We have to remember what God wants for us. I'll tell you something. I talk to my kids at school, and they know. What did Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. teach us? To be fair, to be nice, to take care of other people. They get it. We need to get it. I need to be able to listen and know what God wants me to do. And I don't always know it. And sometimes I screw it up. And sometimes I talk too much. I'm not Dr. Martin Luther King. And I'm not Samuel. And Colleen wasn't either. But you know what she did? She made a difference. She made a difference with those children and those families that she worked with for those short couple of years that she did it. She made a difference. The pastors, they make a difference. Teachers always make a difference. The people that I see, the crossing guards, they make a difference. The people who clean, that lady in the hospital that helped Kenny, she made a real big difference. And I think the secret to listening is knowing the rules and knowing what God wants from us. And I think it's simple. Be nice, be fair, take care of other people, just like my kids know, like Colleen knew, and Samuel figured it out, and Dr. King figured it out. So maybe we need to listen like Samuel, like Dr. King, like Carl. There's a song from when I was young, Abraham Martin and John. And I'm not going to do the whole song, just some of it. Anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people. But it seems the good die young. You know, I just looked around and he's gone. Anybody here seen my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people. But it seems the good, they die young, and I just looked around and he's gone. Anybody here seen my old friend Martin? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good, they die young. I just looked around and he's gone. Didn't you love the things that they stood for? Didn't they try to find some good for you and me? And we'll be free. Someday soon, it's gonna be one day. Anybody here seen my old friend Bobby? Can you tell me where he's gone? I thought I saw him walking up over the hill with Abraham, Martin, and John. Colleen's in good shape. She's in good company. She did what she was supposed to do.
Now, I truly believe she was supposed to be with her girl, her baby, her husband, us, but she also accomplished so much. We need to follow that. We need to learn from that. It'd be kind of hard to compare ourselves with Dr. King or Abraham Lincoln or John Kennedy, but we can do what Carl did. We can take care of other people. We can use our gifts to help, to be there. We can listen and figure out what God wants us to do. So this week, try to listen. Maybe try reading a little bit of the Bible. Maybe listen to somebody when they ask you for something. Just be there. Take care of other people. Be fair. And be nice. You have a good week. I love you. I miss you a lot, but we'll be together soon. Take care.